Namaste Narasimhaya Prahladalad This prayer he gave. And we sing that every day. So that prayer he gave to his disciples, and then Prabhupada went off. And the disciples are just dependent on the Srila Prabhupada and Narasimha. They used to pray. And after some time, Prabhupada could recover from serious health problems and came back to America. So then they are very, very happy. And then Prabhupada told, it is all mercy of Narasimha. Okay, so that's why Srila Prabhupada gave this worship. From then, this has become part of our everyday prayers to Lord and Parampara. And then I have one interesting experience when I went to Mayapur once. So we went to Mayapur, and then we went to main temple. And we just came outside. There was one devotee, foreign devotee, doing book distribution. So he came towards us. We were audience saffron. So he came with some books. And he asked, where are you? So I told, I am from Hyderabad. Then he told, he is very happy. And he told, you're all devotees of Lord Narasimha. So like that he told. So first time I realized that, this place, especially the two Telugu states, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Narasimha worship is predominant than any other parts of the country. There are wonderful pastime places are there. Narasimha temples are there. And then Ahobilam, the appearance place of Lord Narasimha. So we are so fortunate, to have blessings of Narasimha. In fact, our own temple is predominantly Swayambhu, Lakshmi Narasimha Swami temple. And wherever we go, Vizag, we are nearby Simhachal Narasimha, Vijayawada, Mangalgiri Narasimha. And then we are about to start some centers in Anantapur, one center in Anantapur. It is also a famous Narasimha temple. Previously, it was there. And then we have also very active programs in Ahobilam, which is the main kshetra of Lord Narasimha. So that's why we always feel that we are blessed by Lord Narasimha. And we could come out of many, many challenges in constructing in a Hyderabad temple by mercy of Lord Narasimha here. So that's why we call very lovingly the Narasimha here as Miracle Narasimha. Miracle Narasimha, that's how devotees call. So by his miracles, he saved all of us and built a grand temple here. Now it has become a center for entire, these two states, main center for these two states in spreading Krishna consciousness, and thousands of people are getting benefited, by our temple activities. Okay, so now I'll be telling you some important pastimes of Lord Narasimha from Srimad Bhagavatam. So before that, we'll offer prayers to Lord Narasimha. You can please repeat after me. Some of you must be knowing some prayers, but meaning many people will not be knowing. So I'll tell the meaning also. So please, all of you fold your hands and repeat after me. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Narsimham Bhishanam Badram Mrityor Mrityur Namamyaham. So the meaning of this prayer is, I bow down to Lord Narasimha, who is ferocious and heroic Lord Vishnu, Ugram Veeram Mahavishnu, Jwalantam Sarvatomukam. He is burning from every side. Narsimham Bhishanam Badram. He is terrific, at the same time auspicious. Bhishanam Badram. Mrityor Mrityur Namamyaham. He is the death of death personified. So that's the meaning of this prayer. This is a powerful mantra of Narasimha. So by chanting this mantra, we can definitely come out of the great obstacles in our way to attain the Supreme Lord in our bhakti. And one more mantra, please repeat after me. Vajjanakai vidmahe Tikshna damstray dhimahi Tanno Narasimha prachodayat. So the meaning of this mantra is, let us meditate on He who is known as the possessor of nails as hard as thunderbolts and sharp teeth. Let us all be blessed by Lord Narasimha Deva. So Narasimha Deva is having powerful nails. They are as powerful as thunderbolt and is having very sharp teeth. Damstraya, Tishna Damstraya. So that is the meaning of this prayer. And there's one more prayer is there, Narasimha Prapatti. You can please repeat after me. Fold your hands. Mata Narasimha, Pita Narasimha, Bhrata Narasimha, Sakha Narasimha, Vidya Narasimha, Dravinam Narasimha, Swami Narasimha, Sakalam Narasimha, Ito Narasimha, Parato Narasimha, Yato Yato Yati Tato Narasimha, Narasimha Deva Paronakaschit, Tasman Narasimha Sharanam Prapadye. So the meaning is, mother is Narasimha, father is Narasimha, brother is Narasimha, friend is Narasimha, knowledge is Narasimha, wealth is Narasimha, my Lord is Narasimha, everything is Narasimha. Narasimha is in this world, Narasimha is everywhere. Wherever I go, there is Narasimha. Yato yato yami, tato Narasimha. So our Narasimha prayer, one of the stanzas taken from here. Narasimha Supreme Lord, and there is none other than Him. So I humbly seek refuge in you, Shri Narasimha. Okay? And then one more prayer. Srimad Payonid Niketana Chakrapane Bhogendra Bhoga Maniranjita Punyamurte Yogesh Shashvata Saranya Bhavadipota Lakshmi Narasimha Mamadehi Karavalambham. O great God, Lakshmi Narasimha, who lives in the ocean of milk, who holds the holy wheel as weapon, who wears the gems of the head of Adishesha as ornaments, who has the form of good and holy deeds, who is the permanent protector of sages, who is the boat which helps us cross this ocean of misery called life. Please give me protection of your hands. Okay. Brahmendra Rudra Madhuraka Kirita Koti Sangattita Tangri Kamala Malakanti Kanta Lakshmi Lasat Kucha Saroruha Raja Hamsa Lakshmi Narasimha Madehi Karavalambam. So, O Lord Narasimha, on whose feet the great gods Indra, Brahma, Shiva and all the devatas, they offer their prayers by touching their heads to the feet of Lord Narasimha, who is the supreme God. That Lord Narasimha, please protect me with your hands. So these are the some of the prayers to please Lord Narasimha and get the blessings. So going to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the beautiful pastimes of Lord Narasimha. So Bhagavatam starts with a discussion between Narada Muni and then Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Yudhishthira Maharaj performs a Rajasuya sacrifice, there was fight between Krishna and Shishupala. When Krishna kills Shishupala, Shishupala's soul goes and merges into the body of Krishna. By seeing this, Yudhishthira Maharaj got surprised. In fact, all the people in that court. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj approaches Narada Muni and asks the reason. How come Shishupala is a sinful person? From right his birth, he is envious against Lord Krishna. He is never a devotee. And how can he got this opportunity of merging into Sajya Mukti? How is this possible? Then Narada Muni explains who is Shishupala and his own brother Dantavakra. So they are none other than Jaya Vijayas of Vaikuntaloka. They are cursed by the four Kumaras of Lord Brahma, and then they were to take 3 births as dead enemies of Lord Vishnu. In the first birth, they were Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Second birth, they are Ravana and Kumbhakarna. And third birth, Shishupala and Dantavakra. Okay, so all the 3 lives, these two demons, devotees who has taken birth as demons. Okay, almost 6 times were killed by Lord Vishnu himself. Okay, so then he tells the story of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyaksha was killed by Varaha Avatara of the Lord Vishnu. Then by this, he became his brother. Both are twins. Hiranyakashipu is elder than Hiranyaksha, and Hiranyaksha killed by the boar incarnation of Vishnu. And Hiranyaksha became very, very angry at this. So what he did, he is telling to his army. You can understand the qualities of Hiranyakashipu here. So he is telling, my brother Hiranyaksha is very obedient and well-wisher of all the living entities. How can this avatara of Vishnu can kill him? He told that although Supreme Lord Vishnu is always equal to both of us, this time by the prayers of Devatas, he has taken side of the Devatas. So he is telling Lord Vishnu is equal to both of us. Both of us means Devatas and Daityas, demons. Okay, he has taken their side because the Devatas have prayed unto him and pleased him. So he is telling the Lord is showing partiality. Okay, so this is a very wrong conception. Many people tell, that Lord didn't help me, Lord is helping them, Lord is partial towards them. Okay, so this kind of talk, this kind of consciousness is actually Hiranyakashipu consciousness. Samoham sarvabhuteshu, Lord said in Bhagavad Gita, I am equal to all living entities. Name deshostu na priyaha, I have no enemies nor friends. Okay, so that's how he is equal to all living entities. So then his brother died and his anger is burning. So he takes a vow and he tells to all his soldiers, he tells that I shall therefore kill this Lord Vishnu by my trident, and his blood will come out like a flood from his body, and thus I please my brother Hiranyaksha. So that is the vow he has taken before all his soldiers to kill Lord Vishnu. So he wants to kill the Supreme Lord himself. So this is very utter foolishness, ignorance. We are, tiny jivas before Lord. We're tiny. We are just amshas, small amshas. So we cannot fight against Lord. But people, when they are overtaken by anger, revenge mentality, they forget all knowledge. This is what is happening to him. He forgot all his knowledge, and then he is telling, I will kill Lord Vishnu, and then I will take out blood out of him. This what and all he is he is telling. So he is telling, when I am killing Lord Vishnu like that, you go to Bhuloka. He is telling people to go to Bhuloka, his soldiers. Bhuloka is thriving because of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. So due to Brahminic culture and Kshatriya government, when the Brahmanas are killed, the Kshatriyas will be having no encouragement and guidance to perform yajnas. Thus, they cannot please the devatas. So this is the ecosystem created by God, that human beings on the earth, they perform yajnas and they please the devatas. Devatas are, it's like a food for them. It gives them strength. Okay. So they'll be pleased and they'll give rains. Okay. By rains, people get grains, and then again they have to perform yajna and please the devatas. This is how this ecosystem has to run for human beings to live happily. Okay. So when the Brahmanas are killed, there will be no guidance for the Kshatriyas, encouragement to perform any yajnas. And when yajnas are not performed, these devatas cannot be pleased. And when devatas are not pleased, they will become weak and they cannot give rains also to human beings, and then whole ecosystem will be collapsed. Okay. So this is always the plan of demons. They first attack Brahmanas. Just like, we had in India also some parts of country, where Brahmanas were killed. They were thrown out of the state. And recently there's a film also made on that. Okay. So this is the activity of demons. This is the first act of demons. So in Brahmanas are there are no pujas in temples, there are no yajnas, and that will become like a hell. So, okay. So this is the plan. So that's how he sends his soldiers to go and attack earth. So they come and they set fire to cities, villages, pasturing grounds, cow pens, this is cow sheds, okay, and gardens, agricultural fields, natural forests, hermitages of saintly persons, and important mines that produce valuable minerals, residential quarters of agriculturists, the mountain villages, villages of cow protectors, that means yadus, basically cow headmen, and they burned the government capitals with the digging instruments. They broke down bridges, protective walls, and the gates of cities, and some took access and began cutting important trees that produced mangoes, jackfruit, and other sources of food. So demon took fire and set fire to residential quarters of citizens, and thus they seized the activities of Vedic culture totally. And then so human beings stopped totally Vedic culture, and the devatas got surprised, and they came out of their heaven and they are wandering around earth planet and seeing situation. And that is how he created havoc on the three planets by destroying two. What are they? First one is Brahmanas and second is Kshatriyas. So if these two are destroyed, then there will be no kind of fortune, no kind of prosperity for the earth, for that society. Srila Prabhupada says, any society wherever the Brahmanas and right Brahmanas, right Kshatriyas are there, that society will flourish. Okay, so Prabhupada says our ISKCON movement is actually making Brahmanas. If Brahmanas come, then they create Kshatriyas, and Kshatriyas, and by their guidance through Brahmanas, they create Vaishyas and Shudras, automatically will happen. Okay, so that's why Prabhupada says we are Brahmanas and we should train people to become Brahmanas, and by this people have to create, Brahmanas have to create right Kshatriyas. So that is the duty of Brahmanas. So then Hiranyakashipu that's to create havoc, and now he goes to his home. He meets his mother and wife of Hiranyaksha and his nephews. They're all in deep sorrow mood. They're all crying at the death of Hiranyaksha. So to pacify them, he's also burning with anger and grief, but he controlled everything. And then to pacify them, he is talking like a learned man. So he is talking like a learned man. So very surprisingly, here he speaks great Vedic knowledge. That means he knows all Vedic knowledge. In fact, he is telling second chapter Bhagavad Gita and some more knowledge in Bhagavad Gita and Vedas also. So what he is telling, surprise you can hear. He is telling, no need to cry, at the death of my brother. He is a great warrior, and his death is glorious. The spirit soul, the living entity, has no death, for he is external, he is eternal and inexhaustible. So this is a point from second chapter. The soul is eternal, inexhaustible. And then because of misuse of slight independence given by God, people accept certain gross bodies and they are subjected to happiness and distress. He is telling about free will also. And therefore, no one should lament for the passing of spirit soul from the body. Dehinos midadehe komaram evanam jara tada dehantat prapti deras tattan muhyati. That's what he is telling here. Okay, and then so the living entity, after taking birth in this material world, by three modes of material nature, the intelligence get bewildered, and because of bewilderment of his memory and intelligence, he thinks this body is himself and mind is himself, and people are his own kinsmen, brothers, sisters, wife, father, mother. Okay, so because of concocted ideas, he goes through distress and so-called happiness in this material world. He is telling about relationships also. And thus they take birth again in different species of this in this world. And this continued material life is called samsara. Taking birth again, birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, again in this material world is called samsara. Birth, death, lamentation, foolishness and anxiety are due to such material considerations. Thinking that these people are my mother, my father, my wife, my son, my daughter, brother, sister, all these things. Okay, so because of this, people go through birth, death, lamentation, foolishness, and then anxieties in their life. See, such a great knowledge he is speaking. So he is speaking all those things, but is he implementing in his life? No, he is not doing. So this nature of speaking big philosophies, not implementing in his own life, is the mentality of Hiranyakashipu. So you should be very careful. You may ask me now, Prabhu, then we are all Hiranyakashipus only. Yes, we all have demonic nature as well as divine nature also. Sometimes we behave like a demon, sometimes we behave like devata, good qualities. You see, in one film, film is there, where one hero behaves has different personalities. So like that, we all have that multiple personality disorder. Sometimes as demon, sometimes as demigod we behave. But most of the times we behave as demons only, please understand. So the divine qualities are like stones in the rice. You see, in olden days, even current rice also, if you take so much good quantity of rice, somewhere you will find some stones. Similarly, in us, most of the qualities are demonic qualities. Little as a dot, some divine qualities are there. So we should never think that I am great devotee, pure devotee. Mattah patram nanyat, nothing, no one is above me. All these things we should not think. So we are contaminated. We are practicing Krishna consciousness. So by practicing Krishna consciousness, for sure we'll come out of all kinds of contaminations. To great extent, how do we came out? Okay. So people often tell sometimes, sometimes they tell this one. You have to practice before preaching. Okay, that's good. So by hearing this, some people tell that, Prabhuji, I cannot do all this preaching. First, I have to perfect myself. So this is again one more extreme. Unless I become perfect, I will not preach anything. This is one more extreme. Your perfection will take hundreds of lives if you don't practice Krishna consciousness seriously. Okay, it will take so many lives. So Prabhupada says, preach to the extent you are actually practicing. So Prabhupada gave 10 instructions. If you are following one instruction, you tell that only to the people, preach that only to people. No need to say 10. Tell that one. And if you are supposed to tell remaining points also, you can mention this told by Srila Prabhupada, Guru Sadhu Shastra. If you practice, that will be good for you like this. And I am also trying to practice. In this way you can admit. In that you can preach. Otherwise, who will preach Krishna consciousness? If everybody goes to forest to perfect themselves, who will preach Krishna consciousness? So that's not our movement. Janma sadhya kari karo paropakar. You have to do janma sadhya kari parallelly, you have to preach. Both should happen parallelly. In this way, we can benefit ourselves, we can benefit others also. That is the way, practically. Again, don't go one more extreme that until it's a practice for perfectly, I don't preach anything. So, so that's how he pacifies. So by hearing his words, mother, the wife of Hiranyaksha, and his nephews, everybody got pacified, surprisingly. Somehow what he told something, they got pacified. Then this Hiranyakashipu decides to become immortal. He wants to go to forest and to perform tapasya. Okay. And then for what purpose? So you see the purpose. Full of material desires. He performs great tapasya for material desires. What are those desires? He wants to become free from old age, dwindling of body, all these things. He wants to attain yogic perfections like anima, lagima, prapti, vasikara, all this kind of 8 perfections he want to attain. He wants to become deathless and king of the entire universe. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, Bur, Bhuva, Jano, Maho, Tapo, Brahmalokas, all these upper, middle, lower planets he want to become. He want to become king. So then he want to, including Brahmaloka also. Okay, he want to reverse all the pious and impious activities. So if you do good, you'll get good result. If you do bad, you'll get bad result. He want to reverse all those things. And he want to overturn all established practices. Yajnas, yagas, many activities will be there. He want to overturn all those established activities. And he want to finally become Brahma. So these are the 7 desires he is having very strongly. For that purpose, he want to perform tapasya. Then he chooses one place in the valley of Mandara hill. He goes to that place, and then he stands on the toe of the legs, and he lifts hands like this, and he sees to sky and performs tapasya. This is the most difficult posture. Like that, he performs tapasya. For how many years? 100 celestial years. Divya Samvatsaras. Okay, that many years he performs tapasya. So by his tapasya, when tapasya is performed, the whole universe has to tremble. That's the power tapasya is having. So from his air, the effulgent light comes, so which is like sunlight, which is going to be more heat at the time of dissolution. So that is called reje. No, intense sunlight. It comes at the time of pralaya. Okay, so that like that light comes, it is creating heat. It's scorching bodies of the people. So all the devatas, they run back to their homes. They go inside the homes. Then from his kapala, skull, then fire comes from his head, and then smoke, dhumra. Okay, dhumra is smoke, and fire comes, and this is going to fill whole universe. People can't be able to breathe also. Heat, struggling to breathe. Just like in a room, if you keep fire and smoke, intense light, you cannot sustain. It is like that. Whole universe is like that. Then immediately all the devatas, they run to Brahma, Lord Brahma, and they fall at his feet and request him, my dear Lord Brahma, oh our worshipful Lord, please save us from this intense tapasya of Hiranyakashipu, the great demon. He is performing tapasya for you. For what for he is doing tapasya? He want to occupy your post. He want to become deathless. And he want to establish adharma in entire creation, entire this universe. Please take appropriate decision. Please save all the living entities. Like that, all devatas pray to Lord Brahma. Then immediately Brahma goes by his vahana. So what is the vahana of Brahma? It is Hamsa Vahana. He goes with Hamsa Vahana to that the place, the valley of Mandara hill. So when he goes there, he couldn't find Hiranyakashipu anywhere. He is searching where is Hiranyakashipu, because he is performing tapasya for many years. Okay, so his body is covered by ant hill, trees, bamboos, grasses, many things. Okay, he is no more visible. Then carefully he searches and finds Hiranyakashipu at one place. From that body, entire creation is getting disturbed. Okay, so then so Brahma goes to him and he happens to get surprised by seeing his body. His body is totally eaten by ants and worms. Okay, they eat away that fat, flesh and blood, everything. And only skeleton is remaining. Only skeleton. So Brahma got struck in wonder and he starts smiling. And then he tells, oh son of Kashyapa Muni, please get up, please get up. So he is the son of Kashyapa Muni. I am very much astonished to see your endurance. Generally, the life air is rotates in the body, in the flesh, all these parts. Okay, but to my surprise, you have no more flesh. All your flesh is eaten by ants and worms, and you are moving your air in the bones, in the skeleton bones. Okay, so that means he is living with skeleton body. Those days it's possible like that with great tapasya. So he's living like that. And he says, even Bhrigu, the great sage Bhrigu, who is known for performing great austerities, he could not perform austerity like you. That much great, praise he made by seeing the, Hiranyakashipu's tapasya. Even Bhrigu also could not do that kind of tapasya. And nobody can do even in future also. So who can live without even drinking water for hundreds of celestial years? It's impossible for anybody. Nobody can do like this. Okay. So then Brahma immediately takes water from his kamandalu and then sprinkles. As soon as he sprinkles, he is endowed with full body with powerful limbs, and he is having thighs and all the parts of body as powerful as thunderbolt, and his body is shining with golden color. Okay, so and then suddenly he became a young man, like fire comes out of wood. Similarly, he came out of that old body to a new body, a youth and a powerful and beautiful and body. That kind of body he got. So then, he offers prayers to Brahma. By seeing at him, he cries. He goes to ecstasy and pays obeisance and offers wonderful prayers in glorification of Lord Brahma. So then, at the end of the prayers, here this prayers you have to see. He is asking for boons from Lord Brahma. He almost prays some 16 benedictions, 16 benedictions, which makes him almost immortal. So, what are those boons he is asking to Lord Brahma? Oh Lord Brahma, please let me not meet death from any living entity created by you. Grant me that I do not die within residence, outside the residence, during daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. No death by any weapon, no death by any human being, not even animal. Grant me that I not meet death with any living entity, living or non-living. Grant me further that I will not be killed by any demigod, any demon, any great snake from lower planets. Grant me benediction that I too may have no rival. Give me sole lordship over all living entities, sole lordship over all presiding deities, that is devatas. Give me all glories obtained by that position, and give me all mystic powers attained by long austerities, practice of yoga. For this cannot be lost at any time. Generally, great tapasvis get all siddhis, ashta siddhis, and then he is asked for all those things, and Brahma gets pleased by his tapasya and gives everything. See, so he did a great tapasya. Nobody could do that kind of tapasya. But for what purpose? That we have to carefully understand. For his own selfish purposes, for material desires. So when one is impelled by lust, he can go to any extent. It depends on the intensity of lust. Okay. So then he can do anything. Sometimes you will see materialistic people are doing more austerities than devotees. They wake up early in the morning, they catch a bus or train to travel some 2-3 hours to working place, and then chaka some breakfast they will eat, and then they go for work for some 12 or 18 hours, and then again come back to home, little sleep, again wake up early in the morning. This seems to be great tapasya. Many people do in city. Many people do all these things. But that is impelled by lust. So by this kind of austerity, whatever result they get, they'll be implicated by that. It will be not benefiting him for him to reach the ultimate goal of life. Ultimate goal of life. That will implicate again and again to this material world, and they go through anxieties, distress, everything by this kind of tapasyas. Okay. So, because he is overpowered by lust and anger and greed, revenge mentality, he is performing all this kind of tapasya. Even rishis cannot do this kind of tapasya. Then he became very powerful, very powerful. Nobody can do anything with him. Then he started attacking, all planets. And then as soon as Brahma gave tapasya, the first thing what he remembered is, as soon as Brahma blessed him, what he remembered? He remembered the death of his brother Hiranyaksha and his enviousness towards Lord Vishnu. This is what is remembered. So great tapasya he did, but result is no purification of the heart. No purification. Again, impelled by lust, enviousness, anger, all these things. So when a person performs tapasya for material desires, there will be no purification. Only Krishna consciousness, even little Krishna consciousness is enough to purify the living entity to great extent. So this is how then he started attacking many planets and all the living entities, and became the king of upper, middle, lower planets. And he subdued Gandharvas, Garudas, serpents, Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, great saints, Amaraja, Manus, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Pisachas, ghosts and bhutas, everything, everybody is under the control of Hiranyakashipu now. So he started residing in the heavenly planets, the abode of Indra. There some beautiful gardens by name Nandanavanas will be there. Okay, so there he is residing in a royal palace, opulent palace, the most opulent palace of king of the heaven Indra. And then he is giving so much punishments for small things. He is oppressing devatas like anything. So they all suffered so much. And he is always drinking with strong smelling wines and liquors. His eyes are always rolling. Okay. So that kind of situation he will always be in. So even all the devatas, including Gandharvas, Vishwavashus, Tumburus, and I myself, Miss Narada Muni, and the Vidyadharas, Apsaras, sages all offered prayer to him again and again just to glorify him. So everybody is praying Hiranyakashipu only, practically. So even though he conquered all the directions, he got all kinds of sense gratification things, but still he is dissatisfied. Because he could not control his senses, he became servant of his senses. So this is the one important point we have to understand. If you cannot control your senses, eyes, what things to see, and ears, what kind of things to hear, is it Krishna Katha or Gramya Katha? By eyes you want to see beautiful darshan of Krishna or darshan of something material things. And by tongue, prasadam or bhoga. Okay, so like this, all the five senses, if you don't control properly, then what happens? There will be dissatisfaction. You may be having great riches, a big palace, a big job, some 10 lakhs package or 20 lakhs package, or you may have crores of property. There will be no satisfaction if you cannot control the senses. So those senses can be controlled only by developing higher taste through practice of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is impossible. You cannot control senses. There will be always dissatisfaction in your life. Okay. Then finally they approach Lord Vishnu and they pray to Lord Vishnu. They go to the Sweta Dvipa, offer prayers. So those prayers are very pleasing to Lord Vishnu. So what the prayer Bhagavatam says here, Tesai namostu kasthayai yatratma harir ishvaraha yadgatva na nivartante sanatanaha sanyasino malaha. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the direction where Supreme Person of God is situated, where those purified souls in the renounced order of life, the great saintly persons, go, and from which, having gone, they never return. The Lord Vishnu is always pleased by the sadhus, the Vaishnavas. Okay. So that place where all the sadhus go, and by going there, they never return to that direction, to that place, to that Lord. We are paying obeisance like that, they are praying. So they are praying without taking food and water, without sleeping, day and night. Okay. So then Lord Vishnu appears before them as a transcendental sound vibration. Okay. So that sound is very grave. Just by hearing the sound, they all became very much encouraging and they came out of fear. And here Lord Vishnu is telling, I know all the activities of and atrocities of Hiranyakashipu. Do not worry. Soon I am going to put an end for all his kind of activities. So that's what Lord Vishnu told. And here Lord Vishnu tells when he will vanquish the person or whole civilization, he will end all civilization or end that person when difficulty comes to 7 aspects, 7 kinds of people. So what are those? Demigods, devatas, because they are representing Supreme Lord, and then Vedas, because they give knowledge, and cows, because they give the intelligence by which they can able to people can able to understand God, and Brahmanas, who are giving Vedic knowledge and who are performing the rituals as per Vedas. Okay. And Vaishnavas, who are pure devotees of Lord and religious principles, dharma. Okay. And then 7th one, ultimately me. Okay. Anybody who blasphemes God or destroying dharma or destroying, creating difficulties to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and cows, destroying Vedas or difficulty for demigods, then Lord will come and vanquish everything. This is what Lord is telling. Okay. So that's a protecting knowledge is very important. Protecting knowledge means it is protecting dharma. Protecting dharma means it is pleasing Lord. Okay. That's what Srila Prabhupada always says, that don't change whatever I tell. Just follow as it is. That's why Prabhupada wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is. And he told that great danger will come when you try to manipulate whatever I said. Okay. So never ever we should change the teachings of Guru Parampara. We should follow them as it is. If anybody is creating difficulty in understanding those scriptures, or previously we have seen hundreds of years back, many people destroyed Vedas. Okay. So these are all very, very abound activities, dangerous activities. Lord will destroy them for sure. So protecting knowledge means protecting dharma. There are some organizations out there. They don't teach anything about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Vedas. They tell something else. Ajnana. So that is also have to be avoided, all these things. And anybody who blasphemes God, they're surely going to be killed by God. It's going to happen. It may happen in this life or next life, but they cannot escape this kind of activities, result for this kind of activities, reaction for this kind of activities. Okay, so if anything happens to these 7 principles or 7 personalities, okay, then Lord will come and devour, vanquish everything. That's what Lord is telling here. Then here, the Lord tells, soon there's going to be a great devotee by name Prahlada is going to take birth in the family of Hiranyakashipu. If Hiranyakashipu performs any kind of danger to this pure devotee, my devotee, then that is going to be end for him. So by hearing that, they also are very happy. So they understood, they are very confident. So practically now Hiranyakashipu, end is approaching. That's how they considered very happy, and they paid obeisance and they went off by hearing that. Okay. Then then Prahlada takes birth. So Prahlada, before Hiranyakashipu goes to forest, he is in the womb of his mother Leelavati, and Indra kidnapped her, and when he is going to Svargaloka, Nadamuni stops him and asks what you are doing. Indra tells, he is going to be a son of Hiranyakashipu. If he takes birth again, difficulty for us. So I want to kill him. He tells, no, he is a great devotee, don't kill him. Then Indra leaves, and Nadamuni takes Leelavati along with Prahlad in her womb to his ashrama. So here you clearly understand time duration. So Hiranyakashipu performs 100 years of tapasya. Okay, for almost 100 years, Leelavati is in the ashram of Nadamuni only. And Nadamuni is teaching nicely Bhagavatam, pure devotion. And then Prahlad is hearing that many years. So by hearing continuously from the pure devotee, because association pure devotee, he became a great devotee. He became pure devotee. And then here Bhagavatam describes the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj wonderfully and his very peculiar activities, what he does. So here Bhagavatam describes almost some 18 qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. So he is Brahmanya. He is completely cultured as Brahmana. He is a great Brahmana. And then Shila Sampannaha, that means having very good character. Then Satya Sandaha, that means being determined to understand the absolute truth. Then Jita Indriyaha, fully controlling the senses and mind. Then 5th one, Atmavat, Sarvabhutanam Ekapriya, like the super soul, he was kind to every living entity. 6th one, Suhruttamaha, he is the best friend of everyone. Dasavat, Sannata Arya Angrihi, 2 great personalities. He is exactly like a menial servant. Pitruvat Deenavastalaha, to the poor, he was like a father. Bhatruvat Bhratruvat Sadushe Snigdaha, to his equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother. Gurushu Ishvara Bhavanaha, so considers his teachers, spiritual masters, all their God brothers to be as the supreme person of Godhead. Vidya Ardha Rupa Janma Adya Manastambaha, that means completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. He is never envious to Vaishnavas. Udvigna Chitta Vyasaneshu, he was not hesitated when put into danger. Nishpuha Suteshu Drishteshu Guneshu. He was neither direct or indirectly interested in fruitive activities described in Vedas. Indeed, he considered everything material to be useless, and therefore he was completely devoid of material desires. Danta Indriya Prana Sarira Disada. He was always controlling senses, life air, and being of steady intelligence and determination. Prashanta Kamaha. He subdued all lusty desires. And then Naisargiki Ratihi. He has unflinching faith in Vasudeva. And 18, final, unalloyed devotion unto him. So these are the glorious qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. So these qualities are there by birth from Prahlada. Qualities supposed to be carefully cultivated for years together, then they become strong. But here, these qualities are there by birth. How is this possible? Because Prahlad Maharaj is having association of Narada Muni, and he heard his teachings. So similarly, in our life also, you may be fool number one. Somehow or other, if you maintain association of devotees, then you become pure for sure. Just being in devotee association, you will get everything. Sadhu Sangha, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoya. You will get everything by Sadhu Sangha. Satsangatve Nisangatvam. Nisangatve, there is finally Jivan Mukti. You will attain Jivan Mukti by Satsanga. So please carefully make a note of this point. You may be fool number one by just being association of few devotees. By Sadhu Sangha, Satsanga, you will become pure for sure. You will attain perfection. Please ensure this at least. You may not practice everything. Please ensure this one first. That is enough. So then, Bhagavatam describes the peculiar behavior of this Prahlad Maharaj. So how he used to behave. So from the very beginning of the childhood, Prahlad Maharaj was not interested in childish playing. In the childhood, people are all interested in playing. You can see in the temple or any other places, children are interested in playing so much. Balastavat krida saktaha. Tarnastavat tarniya saktaha. When you become young boy, you'll behind young girls. Okay, so this is general. But here he is not interested in all these things. He gave up altogether and remained silent and dull. So he is silent and dull. Why? Why is silent and dull? It is actually fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Because he is surrounded by demons always. He is silent, that's it. He is not showing all those things, silent and dull. But in devotee community, we should be active, not silent and dull. So then his mind is always absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and he could not understand how the world goes, being absorbed in sense gratification things. He doesn't know how world is moving, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And then, so he is absorbed in thoughts of Krishna always. He is always embraced by Lord. He doesn't know how his bodily necessities like sitting, walking, eating, lying down, drinking, talking were being automatically performed. These are happening, but he doesn't know how these are happening. Fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness and in thoughts of Krishna. So, because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, ha ha ha, like that he is laughing suddenly. And sometimes expressed jubilation, and sometimes sang loudly. Sometimes, upon seeing the person of Godhead, he could be able to see God everywhere. Whether he sees one tree, he can see Vishnu there. He sees one person, he sees Vishnu in him. Everywhere he is seeing the Supreme Lord. So, seeing Lord everywhere, Prahlad Maharaj would loudly call him, full of anxiety. He would call, oh Narayana, oh Krishna, like that he is calling. And fully absorbed thoughts of Krishna, and imitates pastimes of Lord. He is performing pastimes like Lord. Sometimes he is feeling the touch of Lord's lotus hands. That means Lord is touching his body. So he's feeling that. So then he becomes very jubilant and remains silent. His hands, his hairs standing on end, and tears gliding down, and his half eyes closed because of love for the Lord. Okay. So, and the people who are seeing him all these things, poor in spiritual knowledge, they are getting purified. That means he is blessing all of them. Okay. So this is how he used to behave. Very peculiar behavior. So this is devotion, ecstasy, devotion of Prahlad Maharaj. So then Hiranyakashipu is very much worried. What is happening to my boy? I have to train him. He is going to be king. So he has to get all the powerful Kshatriya qualities. He is like a mum, and then like a Brahmana he is behaving. So then he calls two of his Guru Putras. His Guru is actually the Guru of demons is Sukracharya. He has two sons, Shanda and Amarka. He calls them and tells them to please train my king, my son, to become a king, and teach Dharma Artha Kama, not Moksha. Okay, Dharma Artha Kama. And then teach all the warrior skills, everything. Then he sends his their ashrama, and they train for some time. And one day he was called to the palace kingdom, and both Shanda and Amarka, they bring this boy to the palace of Hiranyakashipu. So this is a wonderful scene. If you see in Bhakta Prahlada movie, this is a wonderful scene. So when he approaches, he'll be just a 5 years old boy. Okay. So when children speaks in half broken words, Kalabhasha, this Bhagavatam tells, his family gets enamored. They'll be overjoyed. Amma, Tata, Unga, Ukku, like that if they speak. Okay. Whole families will be very, very happy. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu also very happy to hear the words of Prahlad Maharaj. And he tells, my dear son, what you learned from the ashrama. And he tells he learned many things. He's very happy. So what you learned, please tell. Then he tells this wonderful sloka from Bhagavatam. So that is Shri Prahlad Uvacha Tassadu Manye Asurvarya Dehina Sada Samudvigna Diyam Asadgruhat Hitvatma Patam Gruhamanda Kupam Vanam Gato Yad Harimashayeta. Okay, so the meaning is that, O best of Asuras, king of the demons, as far as I learned from spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxieties because he has fell into Gruhamanda Kupam, dark well. Okay, so one should give up this position and go to Vana. So here Prabhupada mentions that is Vrindavana. Okay, where only Krishna Vas is prevalent and should thus take shelter of Supreme Lord. So give up all these things, take shelter of Supreme Lord, Vishnu, like that he mentioned. So by hearing that, he becomes very, very angry. Who is that? Hiranyakashipu. Then, he becomes very angry at Shanda Amarka. They again take back to his ashrama. their ashram and again teach him. Again, second time, they will bring. So this time again Hiranyakashipu asks, and he tells same thing. Worship of Lord Vishnu, chanting holy names is the wonderful thing. You also please chant holy name. Here entire universe is chanting names of Hiranyakashipu, but his son is chanting holy names of Lord Vishnu. He is propagating Harinam Sankirtana. So this is supposed to be Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga. Okay, Kalautad Hari Kirtanat. But Prahlad Maharaj is very proactive, very enthusiastic. He is propagating Kali Yuga Dharma in Kruta Yuga or Satya Yuga. So he is the wonderful devotee, glorifying wonderfully the holy names of Lord. So then he compares, he tells, you are forcing me to chant your name and worship you. I cannot do this. He tells, honeybee who has taken honey from the mandara flowers of heaven, how can it come down to earth and take and enjoy the honey of wildflowers? Chakora bird, who enjoys the full moonlight of Paurnami day, okay, how it can enjoy with some fog? Rajahamsa, who is enjoying in the Akasha Ganga of heavenly planets, how it can enjoy in one canal, in one street here? And then cuckoo bird, which is nicely enjoying by eating the freshly grown tender leaves of mango tree and nicely making sounds coo 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 like that, how it can sit on some other tree? And going to ecstasy by thinking and drinking the nectar of lotus feet of Lord and thinking of the Lord always, how can enjoy ordinary human beings like you? And he tells, Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Sakyam Vandanam Dasyam Atma Nivedanam. So I'm practicing all these things and attain the perfection and then great love and devotion towards Lord. How can I practice all these things? What are you telling? So please leave me. Let me worship Lord Vishnu like that. He prays. So then Hiranyakashipu becomes very angry and he gives him all kinds of punishments to kill. He tries to kill him with sword, with mace. He throws to him to fire and boiling oil from the great height of mountains. He was thrown into ocean, given poison, what not, everything they have done. Elephants, tigers, everything. And nothing happened to him. Then the final moment comes. He becomes very much perturbed and he asks Prahlad Maharaj, you are telling your Vishnu is there everywhere. Is Vishnu there in this Stamba? He asks. Then Prahlad Maharaj tells, yes, he is there everywhere. So now Lord has to come because his pure devotee has told, he given word that Vishnu is there here. Then Lord has to appear. And when he appears, he has to kill by satisfying all the conditions of Brahma. So great challenging task for him. Okay. Then Hiranyakashipu takes mace and then hits the stamba, that pillar. So when he hits the pillar and the pillar breaks and from that great fire comes and then fire particles comes. So from the powerful eyes are visible first. Then the Narasimha jumps out of that pillar and with great sound, that sound is so loud that people can't be able to bear that sound. His entire universe is trembling with that sound. And when he jumps like that, the Adishesha, who is carrying the earth planet, entire universe, could not able to bear the weight of Lord, and he has bowed down his head. And on his feet, wonderful signs are there. Lotus flowers, and then elephant gourd, and then bow, arrow, and then the nectar pot. Like that, many wonderful signs are there. And his knees are very powerful. His thighs are like Airavata trunk. His abdomen is very thin. And when he jumped like that, all his ornaments and bells in his body are making wonderful sound. And he's having many, many hands. And all hands are very, very powerful. And above his neck, a lion-like head is there. And his teeth are very sharp and very powerful. But his face is like a moon. And then his lips are quivering in anger against this Hiranyakashipu. His nose holes are like Mandara mountain caves. And he is like exactly like a snake when he comes out of ant hill and very angrily. Similarly, he is very angry. His eyes are like fire, and all his hair standing on end. And then he is having a big crown as his head, and many, many hands, many, many weapons. Okay, so when he is shaken head like this, it created a big wind from his hair. And devatas who are flying on the sky, they fell down. And then mountains are moving, oceans are disturbed, tsunami like waves are coming in the ocean. 33 crore devatas are all assembled to see this wonderful pastime of Lord. Hiranyakashipu immediately taken a big mace and then came to attack Lord Narasimha. And Lord Narasimha taken hold of his two shoulders and then hold him very strongly. And then he could not bear that pain, and then he fell unconscious totally. Then he was taken to the entrance of the palace that's called Gadapa in Telugu. That's called Gadapa. A wooden will be there. For a temple also we have Gadapa. He sat on that, and then he is having no weapons. He is not created by Brahma. It is neither morning, neither night. And then it is not inside, it is not outside. And then with his powerful nails, Narasimha, he pierced the abdomen of Hiranyakashipu. And then he broke the bones, tuck, like that. He's taken the intestines and then, wore on his neck. And his hair is totally drenched in blood, whole his body. Immediately many demons came and he killed all of them. And then he whirled the body of Hiranyakashipu and threw it away. So that's how the Hiranyakashipu is killed. And all the devatas are very much pleased there. Very much pleased. And then they're trying to pacify. There Brahma is there, Shiva is there, all the devatas were there, Indra is there, everybody were there. Nobody could satisfy him. Lakshmi is there. Lakshmi is fearful to approach her own husband. Then Brahma requests Prahlada, because for you he incarnated, you please go and offer prayers and pacify him. Then Prahlad Maharaj goes and prays wonderful prayers. And these prayers are best of whole Bhagavatam. Highly advanced prayers. Great knowledge will be there in this one. Okay. He prays like that, and then he pacifies. So that's how Lord gets pacified. And then, like that, to protect his pure devotee and many devotees, Lord appeared and then killed this demon and established the Dharma. Okay. So this Narasimha pastimes happened in the Ahobilam place. In Ahobilam, Narasimha Kshetras are there. It is in Kurnool district. Few times we went there. Ahobil Narasimha, Malo Narasimha, Krora Narasimha, Jwala Narasimha, Karanjan Narasimha, Pavan Narasimha, Bhargava Narasimha, Chatravat Narasimha, Yogananda Narasimha. And finally one more, Digu Ahobilam also will be there, which is Prahladvad Narasimha. Okay, so that place is there where 9 temples are there. If anybody goes to Ahobilam, they must have darshan of all these 9 temples. Then their yatra is complete. Apart from this, 9 Narasimha Kshetras in Ahobilam. There are outside the Ahobilam also there are 9 Narasimha Kshetras are there. Again, all these are in nearby. In the sense, Ahobilam is then Kurnool district. Now it is Nandyal. Yadir in Hyderabad we have Narasimha, that is one of the Narasimhas, and Malayadri Narasimha, which is in Prakasam district. Simhachalam, Vishakhapatnam, it is there. Dharmapuri, Karimnagar is there. Vedadri, Krishna district. And then Antarvedi, Ananda Narasimha, we went recently, East Godavari district, it is there. Mangalagiri, Panakal Narasimha, it is in Guntur district. And Panchalakona, Chatravati Narasimha Swami, it is there in Nellore district. So if anybody gets opportunity, you can please have darshan of all these places and get the blessings. So tomorrow is second day of Narasimha Jayanti. In our temple, grand celebrations are there. Morning there will be Yajna, Maha Narasimha Yajna will be there. Afternoon Kalyanam for the Lord. And evening grand Abhishekam to the Lord will be there. Our devotees are will perform grand Abhishekam to Narasimha. Okay. So please come, have darshan and render service to Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I know, God has killed everything. Then he sends his other ashram.